Hi.
Hi guys. So today we're here with Justin Cook for a battle report that we got going on. It's an 1850 game. We're going to be doing Emperor as well. Give us a quick rundown of your list. What do you got going on? What do you think you got having on?
I have 2 Catacomb Command Barge Lords.
Okay.
They're bad people.
They're good?
Yeah, they have all the decked out war gear, the Phase Shifter, and the 2-up armor save, and the War Scythe, and the Mind Shackle Scarabs. They got all the bells and the whistles. One of them even has a Resorb. He's my Warlord. Okay. And then I have 2 Ghost Arcs with 5-man warriors in them, with Solar Pulse Cryptex. Okay. Bringing those back because Night Fight plus Jink. Good news.
Yeah, it keeps those barges alive for 2 turns at least.
Yeah, and it's a player turn that you activate it. So you activate it in your opponent's player turn, and in their ensuing shooting phase, you have a 3-up cover save. And then when it goes back to your turn, it's just like, nope, night's off. Right. And you do that 2 turns in a row. Right. And then yeah, I have 3 Night Sides with 5-mans with Haywire Staffs, Haywire Staff Cryptex.
Good for popping tanks.
Yeah, good for popping tanks. I'm playing against Wave Serpents, so it'll be pretty nice to have. And then 3 Annihilation Barges. So I have a lot of AV-13, and I still have 3 Flyers. I have a lot of Tesla Destructors, and I have 2 really, really terrifying Barge Lords that I mean I've played around with them a little bit. I've seen them play a little bit, and they're pretty good. Yeah. So
I mean, you're going to get some pretty fearsome Serpent spam army that's been getting around, and people have been saying Serpents are really broken. Are you confident about this list?
Well, I feel like my list I feel like my list actually outskimmers his skimmers, because even though he has a 3-up cover save because of Hollow Fields, I have AV-13, and he has some Fire Dragons and some Lances, but if I make some good Jink saves and I make I'll have a 3-up Jink most of the time, he's not going to do a whole lot, and then I'm going to shoot him a lot.
I mean, you essentially have a 3-up cover save as well with your Solar Pulses.
Yes.
And if it gets Night Fight turn 1, you'll have 3 turns of Solar Pulses.
Better armor, and even though it's open-topped the one risky part, and he does have some AP1. Right. So, I mean...
Yeah, what about all the Fire Dragons? Are they going to give you some issues?
Well, against the Barge Lords, they're not that good, because you can... Now with the new rules, you can choose that the Lord is taking the shots.
Right, so
and if he had, like, Wraith weapons, like D-Cannons, heavy D-Cannons from Wraith Knights are especially scary against the Barge Lords, but he does not, so... Okay. Should be pretty good to go.
So you feel pretty confident about this matchup?
Yeah, I feel pretty confident. Yep. I have Flyers. I have Necron Flyers. We rolled already, and I have last turn with Necron Flyers. Okay. So
that helps. Yeah, that's good.
Yep. We're just taking a pause quick before the game starts.
Okay, great.
Before the madness.
So I'll get back to Jesse, and then we'll start the game. Thanks. All right, guys. I'm here with Jesse Newton, and we're doing Jesse's 1850 list. You're running Eldar?
Yes, I'm running a mono Eldar build.
Just a quick rundown what you got.
Essentially, it's a Wave Serpent spam. I'm running 6 Wave Serpents with 6 Dire Avenger squads, 2 5-man Fire Dragon squads on foot.
Okay.
1 3-man War Walker squad with double Bright Lance, and 2 War Walkers with double Bright Lance. Okay. Game plan is reserve the Dire Avenger, so now I have 6 objectives secured. Yeah. Serpents.
So
and an Altark.
The Fire Dragons on foot. What's that about? That seems like they'd be too slow to be effective.
They are, but you reserve 2 Dire Avengers, so they're decent at coming in, hiding, getting those backfield objectives, and you instead turn 1 you put those Fire Dragons in those Wave Serpents. You now have all 6 objectives secure Wave Serpents, and your Fire Dragons they're not late to the party.
Sure. That's a tricky little move. It's good to get that objective secured slot, and it doesn't cost you any extra. Really. Yeah. That's good. Necron AV-13 wall, kind of good against Serpents for the most part. The strength 7 can only glance them, so you don't ever knock them down to AV-11. I mean, you ignore the cover that they get from Jink. How do you feel about this matchup? Are you worried about it?
I am a little worried. Outside of Fire Dragons, I don't have much way of dealing with Catacomb Command Barges. I do have the Bright Lance Warwalkers, but if I start those Bright Lance Warwalkers on the table at all, and I either get seized upon or anything like that,
you get melted quickly.
Exactly. If I'm in range to shoot at him, he's in range to retaliate. Even though he has to Snapfire, I mean, it's Necrons. They're fishing for Snapfires anyway, or when they're Snapfires, they're fishing for 6s anyway to get additional hits. And all those Tesla Destructors will quickly down Warwalkers. So I have to outflank them. So I really don't have. I have to kind of try to use my mobility to get away from them, while hopefully doing some damage with the Warwalkers early, because they're not going to stick around.
I haven't seen the table yet myself, but one tricky thing that you might be able to try to do is if you have the Warwalkers in front, they can do a sort of jump, shoot, jump like Tau can do, because they can walk out, shoot, battle focus back behind the building, and then they wouldn't be able to be seen. So it might be something you can take advantage of in this game.
There's not too much crazy line of sight blockers that I can really do that with. So I'm looking at the table. I think I am going to outflank them.
Okay. So what's your ultimate game plan? How are you going to win this game?
Try to just use my mobility. Stay away from the sweep attacks. If I can down his command barges, great. Otherwise, if I get down his command barges, I'm pretty confident in me being able to shoot out his flyers and just survive via 3+ jinx from having all the hollow fields.
Sure.
And just kind of surviving through his way to fire. If I can shoot down his command barges, then I can easily use my mobility to kind of contest his objective with my 6 objectives secured transports and hold my objective. Okay. But it's those command barges. That's where the game's going to hinge.
Okay. Well, good luck in the match, and we'll talk to you after.
All right. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Chance from Team Stomping Grounds here.
I don't want to talk about this game.
We gotta talk about it. We filmed it. We gotta talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. It really hurts.
That's Jesse, by the way, who you're gonna see on camera there in the bottom right, playing against Justin Cook now. Justin's got a pretty sweet army. Do you want to talk about it, Jesse?
So, Rob and Matt have been more or less pushing Catacomb command barges. I wasn't giving them any credit.
Yeah.
And, so he's running two Lords, fully tooled Catacomb command barges, 3 Annihilation barges. You'll see we have some proxies in this particular game. We actually had a weekend of testing and everything, and we didn't get all the models returned in time for the game.
Unfortunately, we'd rather show you guys how these things play. Even if we don't have the models on hand at the time, the things that you're going to be seeing out there at tournaments, things you're going to see at your local gaming shops, that sort of deal. So, you know, don't mind our appearance. We'll tell you exactly what everything is.
So he's running 2 Catacomb command barges with fully tooled, running 3 Annihilation barges, 2 Ghost Arcs with Solar Pulse Tax, 3 Night Sights with Haywire Tax. It's brutal. I mean, basically,
Justin loves him some Haywire Tax.
Turn 1, my goal is run the hell away. Like I have 2 answers to Catacomb command barges. Fire Dragons with Melta Bombs and Melta Guns, and Bright Lance Warwalkers, and neither one of them really do me much good.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you take a look at it, and we can especially see some of that surprising mobility out of Necrons. When you think of Necrons, you don't really think of the most mobile guys that can get across.
Those
the
Catacomb command barges are fast.
Yeah,
that's big. They're literally, they're fast skimmers, so they can turbo, they can move 30 inches. So I can't really get away from them. So I mean, we're playing Emperor as well. I have an objective in the back behind my terrain piece. He has an objective where his Ghost Arcs are. Yep. My Warwalkers outflank in. The problem is like, I don't have a great shot at either thing. It's like, okay, I can shoot at the Catacomb command barges, and he can put those wounds onto the Lord, or he can put them onto the Catacomb command. So
yeah, it was one of those things when 7th edition came out. It was one of those models that we really talked about benefiting, that sort of deal.
Yeah, I mean, they were ridiculous, and Matt and Rob, Sereno and Rob were both heavily pushing them. I kind of blew them off personally.
Well,
I was like,
it's just one of those things you haven't really seen them competitively.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, it's a Land Raider class. It's okay. I could see maybe running 1. Running 2 of them is ridiculous. So they have the sweep attack. Strength 7, AP 1, because they have a War Scythe. If they move 12 inches, they hit on 4s. It's against rear armor and it ignores cover. So that means I can't jink it. And
which is huge because a lot of these armies now, where you're talking about MSUs and stuff, Jink is huge. If you can ignore Jink, then that might be the only save a lot of the people get.
It also ignores my Serpent Shield because it affects only rear armor. So I can't even turn those pens into glances. So he's hitting me, and he's just getting all these AP1 rolls with +2. So I mean, my Warwalkers manage to kill an Annihilation barge.
Small victories.
Exactly. The problem is the fact that you can split the attacks, those command barges are too durable, to deal with in my particular list.
Absolutely rough. We always talk about when you dedicating fire, whenever you can split fire. I mean, for the longest time, like I play Space Wolves, so it was one of those like long fags, they just get to split fire, and it's, oh, that's so good. And then you take a look at what can do it out of the Necron army. I mean, man, that firepower is rough, and it's mobile firepower too. So it's not like you have a long fang unit that's on the back right corner and it'll stay at 40 inches the entire game. You don't really need to worry about it. No,
will reposition.
Justin can get in your face. I mean, we talk about mobility. Mobility's huge. Everything's in a transport. Everything's in a skimmer. Everything can jank. Everything can do this. Everything can do that. But
I mean, you see, he's just able to basically, he's able to keep up with my mobility. So Eldar is losing a big thing. You know, they're a very mobile army. And throughout the course of the game, I'm not actually able to get away from him between his flyers coming in, between the War Scythe Lords. His Warlord ends up coming down and killing both my troop choices.
yeah. The problem is I think this Eldar list really isn't. Eldar, it's so tough because you want to be the bend but not break army, maybe like that a Talgon line would be or something like that. But when you get castled into a corner, man, it's rough.
Yeah. So, I mean, his one command barge has already just gone around and started sweeping my guys. Again, not having no says. You know, playing this game, there was a big discussion going on between Justin and myself and Matt DeFranza, in particular about Wraith Knights. I was a huge fan of the Warwalkers, and they were both fans of the Wraith Knights. We saw Justin lose a game earlier this edition against Matt Serino playing the Team Stomping Grounds Set Star list that he's been working on and then testing. Honestly, if I had 2 Wraith Knights here instead of those Warwalkers, those kind of command barges no longer scare me because they're just kind of a hard counter. It's a strength 10. So they can't afford to put them on the Lord because they'll insta-kill them. Yeah. And you have the ability of killing the guys as well as you could charge them. I mean, those guys are...
And we've seen in the past, regardless of whether or not the Wraith Knight is the optimum target, do not undervalue the fact that it is a huge model that is scary at strength 10 that your opponent very well may just look at and go, I need to get that off the table or I lose.
Yeah.
And if they dedicate so much fire into the Wraith Knight, then maybe you can clean up all the other units.
So you see Justin kind of going after my Fire Dragon transports here.
Yeah.
He kills one of them with sweep attacks. I shoot down one of his flyers. I'm trying to limit his mobility, hoping that maybe if I limit his mobility and I keep running away from him, that'll allow me to stay in the game.
If you can kite him around, I mean, you can get a decent amount of shots out of the Wave Serpents, for sure. The problem is...
What are they going to really do?
Yeah, what are those shots doing?
I mean, I only glance him on 6s. I don't bring down his shields. And those lords could just choose to take the wounds on themselves, so now they have a 2-up armor save.
Well, it's a really interesting thing because we can kind of see what the matchups kind of come here is he can crack your armor, but you might not necessarily be able to. But you kind of want to put pressure on the objective here. So what's really going through your head when you're kind of doing the whole, I don't know if I can pull this one out, but the best scenario would be for me to do this.
Yeah. So my game plan was that. It was like, I don't know I could pull this game out at this point, especially when I realized how much his Catacomb command barges counter my entire build because I'm running Wave Serpents and just how well they do against that. So basically my game plan is, okay, he has an objective in the back corner. If I can squeeze this one not essential Wave Serpent out, I can always go back and kind of contest it or take it for myself with objective secured. And then just kind of try to the goal was try to shoot down his flyers. If you shoot down his flyers, make those guys walk in from the edge, then you really heavily limit his mobility. He's not able to get to my back corner objective, and I have transports able to move 30 inches a turn. I couldn't do it fast enough. I mean, he killed the transport my Altark was in just now. My other transports, one of them has a unit of guys in them. One of them is empty. It's the Annihilation barges, the Ghost Arcs, the flyers. It's just weight of fire. It doesn't matter if it's 3-up save. He's just killing me with weight of fire or ignoring my saves altogether.
Is this just a matchup where you kind of go, look, I mean, I just can't go shot for shot with this army? On
paper, I thought I could.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, well, on paper, I still might be able to. I mean, my Warwalkers came in, and my 3-man double Bright Lance Warwalker Squadron actually only scored 1 hit.
Yeah. There's something to be said. Sometimes dice don't go your way. That's what I think.
But at the end of the day, he has a much better matchup than I do in just overall with the lists.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at this point in the game, I'm down to less than 10 infantry models and 1 living tank.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do.
By turn 4, it's just the weight of fire and then those Catacomb command barges.
Yeah. Necron vehicles are absolutely huge, especially from last edition. We saw so many Necrons being brought out in the competitive scene. It's something where you're going to have to take a look, because more than likely, if you're going to go to an RTT, you're going to go to an event at your local gaming store, someone's going to bring Necrons.
They're a fun army. They're an army that looks sweet.
They're easy to paint.
They are very easy to
They're
paint.
very easy to paint. That's something you can't overlook, that sort of thing. But when you talk about it, they're bringing a tremendous amount of fire to the table, and we're seeing more and more models from the army become viable. I mean, command barges, like, it's absolutely crazy, and it's something that definitely changed in 7th edition. If you guys are out there, you're about to start playing more 7th edition games, read that rulebook, because there's very interesting interactions, especially...
And Necrons came out just like they did at 6th edition, super strong. I don't know what it is about Necrons at beginning of editions, but man, they really fit in well.
Yeah, seems like they did a great job against you.
They did. I don't want to talk about it.
All right, we'll stop talking about it then, Jesse.